Well, it seems like we've had a long winter, but the way to tell when spring is really here is when our spring flowering bulbs start blooming. And even though it's been a hard winter on those, we have some real troopers out here at the gardens that are going to go ahead and give us a show anyway. And that's why we wanted to use some of our daffodils for our April flower arrangement. I think daffodils make a beautiful arrangement, but sometimes it's hard to get them to look full if you don't have a lot. And that's where I want to show you a tip on how to make your daffodils look fuller. And that's using some marbles that you can find at the craft store, and also a small jar or vase that will fit down inside your larger vase. And all you have to do is just put some marbles in the bottom and then place the smaller jar inside. And this piece of paper works really well so that you don't fill both of your vases up with marbles, which I found out after I tried this a few times. You go ahead and fill around that with your marbles. And be careful when you put your marbles in that you don't put too many in at the time so you don't crack your vase. Now after you fill that up to the top of your smaller vase, you can go ahead and fill that with water. One thing you want to remember here is that you want your water level to be above the top of your smaller vase, so there's some water down inside for your flowers. Then you can go ahead and start arranging and just use your top flower. Try and pick a flower that's smaller than all the others and then arrange around that. And this way they'll have a full look to them. Now I wanted to give you some more tips on arranging with spring flowering bulbs, especially with daffodils and tulips. Now with all of these flowers, when you cut them, you want to cut them in the cool part of the day, and you bring them in, and then you want to recut the stem underwater at kind of an angle here. And the reason that you want to do this is to prevent developing an airlock in the stem, which would cause them to wilt faster. Now for daffodils, if you want to mix them with any other flowers, you want to be sure to condition them, because they have a sap in the stem that will cause other flowers to wilt. And so what you do is you take all the daffodils and you put them in a glass of distilled water overnight in a cool place, and then they'll be ready to arrange with other flowers the next day. Now there's a tip for tulips. A lot of people like to put in a floral preservative with their tulips, but you don't want to do that because tulips actually continue to grow after you've cut them. And if you put floral preservative in with them, the sugar will cause the tulips to stretch and they'll flop over in your vase. So just use plain water when you're using tulips in an arrangement. So for those of you who are fortunate enough to have some bulbs that have survived all the spring freezes, this is a great way to bring them in and display them in your house.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.